This is a horror game podcast. It is meant for mature audiences. It may contain adult language, violence, and sexual themes, as well as shocking revelations. Viewer discretion is advised. Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I will be playing the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Thom Raley. We continue with our campaign, War Cthulhu London. It was written by Matthew Sanderson and Scott Dorward. This scenario is entitled The Meat Trade. Our keeper of arcane lore is Matthew Sanderson, and this is episode 5. Our recap will be given by Alex Sun as his character, Captain Oswald Goodale. So without any further delays, let's continue our journey into the darkness. Alex?
Thank you, Tom. This is a report from Captain Oswald Goodale. Last time, we tracked Meyer Fellick down to his printing press business, Fellick Printing, where he was held hostage by one of those ghouls, forced to make fake documents. At the same time, Father Erasmus and Melvin, they went to check out Nancy Wayne and talk about making that eye goo that allows us to see those ghouls. And from what they reported back, the meeting seemed a little ominous. But back at Fellick Printing, we liberated Meyer Fellick as the ghoul was terminated in a hail of gunfire. And we brought him back to a safe place. And in fact, Father Erasmus took him to the church, as he is wanted by the... Let me see. I'm getting the name wrong. But yeah, he's wanted by the gang, the Shepherd gang. And meanwhile, we were looking into Mr. Wilson, who owned the meatpacking plant, to scope him out and see if he was to get home so we could eliminate him to stop him from spreading the tainted meat. I am signing off.
Right, thank you very much. So I think we left it then at the very end of the session with folks in various different points across London, either in the air raids shelter underneath the police station, or in the communal shelter that was more local to the rest of you guys, just waiting for that boring overnight activity that is sitting around, getting very little sleep as bombs drop in various different proximities to you, shaking the roof, although thankfully not shaking it anywhere near as much as some of the shelters you've recently had, and waiting and praying that you get through until morning. So unless anyone has anything specifically they want to do in that time, we can fast forward to the next morning and have you guys somewhat bleary-eyed staggering out into the light as the all clears signal is given.
Well, I'm still at the police station because to be protected, I guess.
Yeah, with their own bomb shelter beneath the ground, so you're not worried about being in the cells if there was a direct hit, because no one wants that. But yeah, the vibe you're certainly getting from the police there is that this is routine for them now, because I mean the bombing campaign's been going on for several months by now, but also that there is no hostile intent towards you. This is very much that they're concerned for your safety, because I said these guys came to the what's the word I'm looking for? Not facility. Came to the monastery.
Came to the shelter.
Yeah, that's it, the shelter. With very much an intent of wanting to find either you or about you. So
well,
they're not treating you as a suspect.
Right. I want to cooperate with the police.
Mhm.
But I tell them I have no idea why they're interested in me, but I do a lot of charity work. I'm working with people who are not necessarily on the up and up, and perhaps I said or did something that I got their attention.
Mm.
Uh, but that's as far as I'll tell them I'm quite surprised. I don't know what they want.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean that they'll probably talk you through things like people or groups that you've had contact with over the course of the last maybe couple of months, and then just trying to replay those kind of memories, thinking maybe there's something you said to this group, and they're trying to build up a kind of short list of potential suspects themselves. But again, you're very much not on the list of suspects, so you're being treated very much as a person that's at risk rather than being someone that's of interest. Yep. Like I said, the evening passes by without any issue, and we can skip forward to the next morning. So where do folks want to potentially meet up and discuss what you want to do, or have you got any immediate plans that you want to put into action?
I definitely want to check in on Grace Daggett.
Gotcha. Yep. So that's easy enough. So you can either head over to the hospital, and do you want to do it in person or over the phone?
In person.
Yeah, we should probably call ahead and make sure that she is, as we hoped, awake, but it seems like a sound place for us to meet in the morning.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
even think that it sounds reasonable that they're not going to make some sort of criminal move on me while I'm at the hospital in front of 1,000 witnesses. So, yeah, I'll go there as well.
And I will note that I believe we left Grace handcuffed to the bed.
Yeah, I think even under guard, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Okay. So if everyone is happy to head there, then we can wind forward. So it'll probably be mid-morning by the time everyone's got from the various points that you were across London to get to the hospital. Calling ahead, confirmed. Yep, she's definitely still there. She is asleep, but they have no problem with trying to rouse her at this point because it is early morning. And probably won't be too difficult considering the amount of noise that will be being made with the various different batches of new patients that have been wheeled in after last night's bombing. So when you arrive, it is a hive of activity. There's plenty of stretchers and trolleys moving around, ambulances pulling up that are then not dispatching, unloading cargo that is then taken to the wards and so forth. So working your way through the hospital, even being shown up to the room by either your good friend Nancy, who's still working there. So the doctor that you've previously dealt with there will have her hands full a bit. The Dr. Morris. So she'll definitely have her hands full with new patients coming in. But you can be taken up to go see where Grace is being kept, pretty much where you left her. And yeah, by the time you get up there, you see there's the nurses are doing their rounds in the morning anyway, so they're checking to make sure that that she and everyone else is fine. And you can see that she is a little groggy. She's not completely asleep, but she is starting to come round by the time you are shown into her private bay.
So from like the nurse, she's gonna make it, right? She's not on life support. She's gonna make a full recovery, or
Yeah, this the nurse that you speak to. Yeah, we've just got her basically pumped up on a load of antibiotics at the moment. The infection that she has because it's not completely gone. It is pretty severe, but it's under control. It's starting to subside. We basically just need to make sure that we keep hammering this with as many drugs as we can until it's fully out of her system. And that'll mean that she's definitely going to be in here for, I'd say, at least another. I'll probably say a full week, ideally. So because she's had a day so far, minimum another 6 days.
Has she woken up at all and said anything?
She's had a couple of moments of lucidity, but it's basically her body's running on the point of exhaustion. So we got a few words out of her last night, but she should be more responsive this morning. I mean, ideally, we'd like her to actually get up and, well, not get up, but at least wake up and eat something.
Mm.
That would be ideal.
Well, hopefully our visit will be encouraging to her.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, some stimulation, it certainly won't hurt. If anything, getting her a bit more awake and then keeping her awake would also help. So hopefully build up some of that, some stamina for her. But yeah, I will quite happily get out of your way if you want to have some privacy with her. Just if she does have any problem, if she does start to become more, if she becomes distressed or in pain, then please give us a shout and we'll come in and either administer a sedative or whatever we need to do. Really.
Yes, thank you for the privacy. And
Okay. So,
I'll
yep.
motion for her to go.
Yeah. She takes the hint and heads on out. What are you doing with the guard you've got stationed with her? Also telling him to step outside.
You're relieved.
Don't he?
Stay outside the door. Yeah.
Yeah. Salutes and goes outside. Door closes, and yeah, you can see a silhouette, or at least a shadow of him outside the door, legs apart, very much that thou shalt not pass.
Okay. you're through the thick of it, but that infection is taken care of, and looks like you'll live. But we have many things to discuss, Grace.
She groggily looks up at you, and her eyes start to focus a bit more. Yeah, I'm a tough old boot. It takes a lot. It takes more than that to put me down.
Well, you did good. Um, Especially for someone hunting ghouls solo.
Oh, who says oh,
As all
who says
as all good rat catchers do.
her eyes kind of narrow at that. What makes you call us that?
Because that's what you are.
We've been busy while you were asleep.
And don't worry, you're amongst friends. We already talked to Nancy Wayne.
Oh, her eyes open a little bit wider at that. You talk to her?
Yes, of course. So how else do you think we got the eye goo that lets us see the ghouls?
There's a genuine kind of look of kind of dumbstruck surprise that comes across her face at that.
Look, we're friends. That's all you need to know so far.
How long have I been out?
Not long, actually.
What, 3 days?
Well, even then, it's only really been the last 24 hours were the first full day of her being in the hospital.
Just completely dismantle her life. Like we know everything.
It just so happens that you're not the only organization that's aware of the problem that you're fighting against. It's just that we bumped into you in an odd spot in that underground subway station or shelter, the underground shelter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
We're hoping that we can work
looks-
together.
Well, I'm a little stunned that everything's moving kind of so quickly because we normally don't operate like this.
Well, it has to move quickly because there's dire danger in London right now.
You're telling me I'm well aware of that.
Are you aware that there's two tribes warring?
Those eyes narrow again slightly. I know there's definitely a a delicate power balance at play
It's been tipped already.
in in favor of which side though.
From our understanding, I'm just gonna be frank with her. Like we know
Yeah.
that there's country tribe. This country tribe is trying to butt in on the territory of the city tribe. And what they are doing to recruit and get more into their ranks is endangering the civilians. And they are, quite frankly, if this they are endangering bunkers. They're weakening them, and they're also tainting the food supply.
Oh, I very, very much know about the bunker problem. I mean, I've run across the group, one of the builders responsible for it. They came up on our list.
The Welch and Sons. Yeah.
Yes,
Did you eliminate them? Were they ghouls?
they've been taken care of, but I don't think you've. I think you'll find if you do go pay them a visit, you'll find it wasn't by me.
Someone else did it?
Well, I don't eat people.
Fair
Does
point.
she does she seem to be indicating that she thinks it's just one tribe and then they're having a disagreement within their tribe? Because I know that there was one guy in the gang who went to the country and came back, and the rest remained in the city.
I don't think I'll call for like a psychology role here because it's like particularly as like Goodell was saying, it's been very open and she's not deliberately trying to hide what she's saying at this point. She's been selective, but she's not overtly hiding anything. So when it comes up about there being these two tribes, she acts and reacts as if, yeah, I know this. This is not news to her. So she is aware of at least some maybe a variation upon what you're saying. But yeah, she's aware that there are two definite inner and outer tribes here.
She's also telling us quite clearly that when ghouls kill their rivals, they eat them. Ghouls eat ghouls.
Well, no, ghouls eat humans. That's because that's specifically what she was kind of referring to, is that the human builders had been eaten.
I see, yeah.
One way to cover one's tracks, I suppose, when engaging in a conspiracy.
A great way to also become the people that you're trying to, rather than manipulate them directly, you replace them. And that's our major problem, and why we're frankly I'm very surprised that you've been able to get Nancy into Nancy's good books so quickly. We've had ghouls that have tried to get into our organization before because they are everywhere above ground. They could be walking amongst you on your way to work. They could be sitting beside you on the tube. They could be on the bus next to you. Hell, they could even be the fucking bus driver. They are everywhere and slowly working their way into government. They're slowly becoming part of the authority structure here, and they are taking over. And when they start to try and wheedle their way into our organization, we have to take very extensive measures before anyone gets into our trust.
Okay,
That
well then
seems
consider
very
this
reasonable.
a show of trust. Dr. Gross, could you get the ointment that you confiscated from Grace here? And I'll
Yes.
apply it. Look at us.
Okay. She takes it. She has a good long look at it, sniffs it, and again, almost scrutinizes it, maybe a little too long before she goes, not saying, okay, this feels like this was my batch that I made.
Gross did go. You can trust it. I might be a lot of things, but I like this kind of stuff. I would treasure it.
The thing is,
It was in
telling
safe
her
hands.
this, even giving her this ointment, she has a right not to trust us. We could be a trick. So, and by any means you need to figure out whether we are in fact ghouls, please.
I'm going to uncuff her
Okay.
as another show of trust.
Okay, yeah. If you turn into Gross, if you really want to definitively prove that, because I mean, this, from my perspective, this might be a little bit paranoid. This could have been replaced with something that just smells a bit like the ointment that I made.
Indeed.
I could smear it on my eyes, and if I saw nothing, that's just a false positive potentially. That would be a great way for you, as if you are one of you or all of you ghouls in disguise, having eaten the people that you are now representing yourself as, that any muck that I smear on me, and I just see you stood there, I've got no proof. the one thing that will convince me. She looks around and just sees over to one side. You've got drawers of various medical implements as would be needed to be kept close by. Have a look in there and see if you can find something sharp.
Oh,
Okay.
do you want to draw some of our blood?
No, I want you to cut your own palms.
Oh.
All right, I'll do that,
I'm a
sure.
medical doctor, so I'll like go, yeah, they'll keep the scalpels in here. Here's a scalpel. You want to see if we have that healing factor.
No, I want you to hurt yourself to the point where that visage would naturally drop.
Oh. How extensive do we have to do that? I mean, we do need our hands.
Look, find somewhere nice and fleshy that you don't mind being hurt via. But this is
like stomach.
This is going to sting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just belly line.
Okay, and at least you're like maybe not that extensive, but at least she does say at least you're in. If everything goes well, you're in the right place to get bandaged up, so it's not going to be a problem. But just obviously nothing too extreme. But I need to see you bleed.
In fact, I'll
cut
grab
myself.
the stuff that we need to wrap it up afterwards. So.
Okay. Is anyone not doing it?
Let me do the cutting because you don't want to really seriously cut a vein or an artery or anything.
I feel like this is fairly tender, but I don't need it to do any work. I think cutting our hands when we might need to use weapons would be a bit foolish.
Here is
like
probably
non-dominant
a good
hand
spot.
on the forearm.
Yeah. All right.
Miss Daggett, is it all right if I don't watch when he does it?
Yeah, she kind of smiles at that. Yeah, if you're too sensitive to deal with that, maybe you're in the wrong line of work. But
maybe that in of itself proves that he's not one. But
or it could be
all
a good
right.
hack.
So I'll cut each person without really doing any kind of damage.
Okay. And without having to do like 5 separate rolls after this.
And then the first aid to heal that.
Yes, exactly that. Yeah, what she's going to ask you to do is mechanically inflict 1 hit point of damage on either yourself and then each other member present, because that would be enough that if you did have Consume Likeness active, that would be enough to make the spell drop. And then once she is happy seeing blood spill, seeing the kind of pain induced by that kind of wound, she will then say, right, you can patch them up now. So it takes a little while of going bandage, stab, wait, bandage, move on to the next person. But by the end of it, she is actually visibly relieved. It says, well, that's more proof than what this holding up the vial could really give me.
And since I have obviously I'm a doctor, so first aid and medical, do we then immediately get that 1 hit point back?
Yeah.
Well, first aid gives you the 1 point back anyway. So
and we're in a hospital too,
one.
so that, I don't think there's any chance you could fail.
No.
I've got all of the equipment. Yeah.
Well, famous last words if you rely on my dice rolling. Just saying.
Roll 100, just get like tetanus or some shit.
Race, would you mind if I administered the test on you as well?
She gestures wherever you want to stick me.
Well, I think probably the wounds that you've already incurred would have wrecked the spell. So,
yeah, she does gesture down to the massive claw marks down by her on her abdomen, which were leaking pus the last time you saw them.
yeah.
Was the creature that inflicted that injury the same one you followed into the shelter where we were? Or was that a separate battle?
Separate. That was one of the ones that I met at the aforementioned builders yard.
I'm gonna take out the list of names. Why don't we just go down this list of names? The Stubbings family, were they compromised? Were they ghouls? William Stubbings, Edna Stubbings, Billy Stubbings. Their names are crossed off here.
Yeah, no, I remember them. No, they were starting. They were starting to turn.
Starting to turn. Okay.
They were, as far as I could tell, up until relatively recently, they were just a normal family. But they had all started to turn the whole family, and when they reach a certain point, there's no stopping it. That
Boy,
just that they
we
were
totally understand.
Horrible.
The
Mhm.
Butcher's family went that way at our hands.
Tainted meat.
Butcher's family.
yes, Wilson.
One of Wilson's distributees.
Oh, right.
Yeah. That's how we got to Wilson at the meat, knowing that Wilson at the meatpacking plant is compromised. But let's continue down this list here.
Mhm.
Desmond Welch and Alf Welch.
Again, back
construction
to the
brothers,
build. Yeah, back to the building or builders company.
So I know that Desmond Welch's name is crossed off, but not Alf Welch.
No, there was only one present there when one of them present when I went there. I believe, right, Alf is his son, or
Okay.
was his son. I wouldn't be surprised if he's been replaced as well, but he wasn't there when I turned up. It was in fact Desmond that did this and gesturing to the wound.
Yeah, and then you dispatched him.
Yes,
Very well. John Reagan, who is he to you?
Reagan. You're making the poor GM forget some of this stuff, so let me go through my notes. This is what I said. There's one thing about this particular scenario. There's lots of NPCs and lots of different ways that they all fit into this.
Not only do you have to give us the information about the NPC, you have to give us the information about the NPC through the lens of another NPC.
Yeah.
And there are two Nancys.
Yes.
Yes. Which I did speak to Scott about, and yeah, he completely missed because they appear in two different sections of the book, so he hadn't put two and two together.
And we know of Barry the Hatchet. Connell.
Mhm.
He's
The,
been dispatched.
Yeah, the underworld figure. Here we go. If I could I could open my PC, open the PDF on there, and just try to do a quick Control F. But my poor machine can't cope with too many things open. If I tried it, my whole bloody machine might collapse.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's a sign that the poor thing is on its last legs. For heaven's sake. So you did. Welch already does say Alf Welch definitely covered. Connell, yep, and Shepherd, yes, and you got Felic. So who the hell is Reagan? Hang on. No, not who I'm thinking of. That's a different thing you haven't touched upon yet.
Oh boy.
Yeah, there's at least a couple of angles you haven't got down yet. Here we go. List. Oh, right. No, gotcha. No, it kind of is tangential, but he refers to it in a different section rather than the one I thought it was. Right. Yeah, she nods at the mention of Reagan. Yeah, I'm not sure if he pans out at all in what my investigation, whether I'm going down a blind alley or not, I don't know. But when I went to Welsh and Sons, the builder, there was documentation there that related to another company, a company called Thompson Builders in Whitechapel. And that I got the vibe that if there was like another company that they wanted to do the same thing to get more shelters that were getting ready to collapse, that would be another good company to try and infiltrate and then do the same thing over a wider area. And Reagan is, as far as I'm aware, he's a member of the Shepherd gang that is also connected to this Thompson Builders Company. That if I was part of this conspiracy, he would be the kind of person this kind of ghoul that I would send in to potentially then eat some of the others at Thompson to help facilitate them being replaced.
Ooh.
So again, very, very high on the suspect list. He would be one that I would be looking to see if had he already been turned. But like I said, hadn't got to him yet because he was further down the list.
Mm.
Would we look for? Go ahead. I wonder if we would look for him. Is it the Shoulder of Mutton Tavern where the Shepherd gang is often seen?
Yeah, that's the address I've been given. That seems to be where the gang has their kind of hideout. It's not a nice place, and it's also pretty close to one of the major ghoul areas that we know. One of the tribes have their nest relatively close by, and we've lost too many people trying to go down there that we certainly don't go below ground anywhere near there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a nest near the Shoulder of Mutton.
Yeah, she kind of looks a little bit surprised at that. I mean, yeah, it's kind of obvious. Look, have you looked it up on the map or been there yet?
I'm simply just repeating what you're saying.
It's just down the road from Bow Cemetery. A massive cemetery.
Right.
Yeah. Don't go wandering around, especially going down there. Any tunnels go into that area. It's suicide. Just don't even think about doing it.
I bet they have good memories, huh?
Very. You can all give me int rolls.
66 out of 60.
14 out of 75.
98. I'm still rubbing my arm.
Yeah, you got a bit more things on your mind, or in this case, in your arm.
Mine is an extreme.
Oh, the father's.
I'm
muted.
talking away. I could spend 3 points of luck to make it an extreme.
Although Dr. Gross has got an extreme.
I have an extreme.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. Okay. So on a regular success, maybe think Bow Cemetery. You kind of know the name, but it may be not somewhere that you really kind of thought about much beforehand. With a hard, yeah, you'd know it. You'd now be able to place the relationship. Oh, yeah, it must be not too far away from there, away from the address that you've got for the Shoulder of Mutton. And its official name is actually Tower Hamlets Cemetery, although locals call it Bow Cemetery instead, just again because of the name of the road there and so on. But then with the extreme from Dr. Gross, you remember when the floor fell out in that shelter and that you had the tunnel that was going underneath it? Well, it ran east and west, and you went in the direction that took you towards the tube station because that was the safe option. That was the sensible option. If you'd gone down the other route where you heard that meeping and yipping coming from, that would be in the direction of Bow Cemetery.
I fear that where we need to go, that is the place where it is crawling with them, I guess.
That's where we need to not go.
Yeah, her eyes open wide. What part of it's fucking suicide didn't I just make clear to you?
Well, I have an idea. We can have the Germans just take care of that issue, light a fire on Bow Cemeteries to have it be a target.
Well, that's sort of an option.
Everyone's already dead there.
Well, not everyone. I mean, she looks a little bit kind of surprised there.
Well, you know what I mean. There's no civilian casualties.
Well, there's going to be at least one. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we didn't think, why we haven't acted upon it.
The guy running
the
the
Undertaker.
cemetery.
Well, there's a groundskeeper there.
Yeah, let's get him out of there.
So you're telling me this groundskeeper works on top of a ghoul's nest and is oblivious?
I
You don't
doubt
think he's
oblivious.
compromised?
Well, as far as we can tell, he seems human. I mean, definitely from having observed him with, and she motions to gesture, rubbing her eyes. He doesn't appear to be a ghoul at all. He appears to be a human, which, I mean, I can't understand how regular humans wouldn't work with ghouls willingly or knowingly. So that's not how they operate.
Maybe he has a loved one who's a ghoul.
That's true.
Who knows?
What
He
is
may
then-
be he may be under blackmail, such
it
as
might be. Using my knowledge, is there anyway like any aspect of the occult, any kind of person who would hang around with ghouls that this could be, especially if they're a caretaker, they'd be very low key. It could potentially be something I'm at the top of my head thinking of, but I
Give me
just
a myth.
we know
Give me a
there are
mythos
evil
roll.
people.
let's go.
Besides, lighting a fire would also cause the Germans to bomb everything in the surrounding area.
That's
Not
the
just the
other
cemetery.
aspect.
Where's my mythos? Oh
It's
my
not like
God,
precision bombing.
all I'm gonna say is it's not looking good for later if we need to roll because I just rolled a 2.
Oh, okay. So you're getting all the really good rolls out now. Okay, with that, because that's got to be an extreme anyway. With it, because even if you have 5, that would still be. Oh, yeah, you've got more than 5. The big candidate here for why human ghoul, not relations. That's a bit too of a loaded word, but interactions between the two. You do remember stories in what you've read. Ghouls can steal kids and replace the babies with their own, very much like a changeling. They'll steal the human baby from the crib and replace it with one of their own, which then grows up as the human. And it's only later that they then start to show the fact they're a ghoul. What if this guy's one?
I relay this to you all. This could be it's a stretch, but it could be an option. I'm trying to compare them to a lot of mythos. I know a lot of various mythologies, and it
But then he
seems
would
like
be
this
an
could be plausible.
ally. He would be an ally to the enemy, in which case
He's an enemy.
he's
But-
an enemy.
And but if growing up in human culture
Well,
could have a bit more humanity.
let's consider this. Your organization is called the Rat Catchers, and you catch rats with traps, and you catch traps with, I mean, by physically killing them. You've got a nest of them. What if I can't think of what we could do, but if we could give the ghouls something that they would take into their nest, and then it would kill them. Explosives or
Could we taint the meat with explosives or something? Or
I don't know, but I don't know that poison works on them. They seem pretty immune to all kinds
I
of
don't mean
hostile
poison. We just
things.
have a lot of meat in a sack, and there's a bomb. I don't know. I'm thinking
Well-
like Jean-Claude right now.
I don't think that Trojan horse style.
It won't work.
I don't
They're
think it'll
smart.
work.
They're smarter than that. I
It
know.
was
I'm
just a passing thought.
spitballing.
But yeah, the main problem that even if we did get by this guy, Mr. Black, the caretaker there, to say we've bumped up against him a couple of times when we've been scouting up above ground. That if you did manage to get into the cemetery and able to light some bonfires in there, that if the ARP didn't find you first, that the indiscriminate bombing or carpet bombing of the area might have an effect of below ground, but also you run the risk of having a whole load of the people that live around that cemetery also be collateral damage.
You Did you say you've
Which,
spoken to Mr. Black before?
We've bumped up against him a couple of times. Very much the get off my lawn. How dare you defile the area that's supposed to be kind of sacred here, etc. Kind of the normal things that a authority that's been put in place to look after the cemetery would do.
I feel, yeah, yeah. I'm already. You all think I'm crazy for thinking it anyway, but I feel like we should actually talk to this man.
I agree, but also, does the spell that they use to look like humans, could we use that to look like him?
I,
If you ate him,
ate him. Yeah.
yeah, no, no, we do not do that, Jean-Claude.
We don't eat
That,
people? I mean, come on.
Jean-Claude,
It's
Jean-Claude.
just one
That turns
guy.
you into a ghoul.
Well, so as I said, I fear Mr. Black might have, because grown up more human, because might have a little bit more humanity and understand where we're coming from.
What about a
It,
disguise?
Well,
I, d-
how do you
I
disguise
don't.
them? We don't know what they're able to see.
Well, I don't think. I don't.
I'm
Mr. Black won't really know us, so it's not going to be a.
I'm
We
I'm
don't
going
need
to
to
pull
disguise.
I'm going to pull Captain Oswald over into a corner and say quietly to him, so if we could catch one, if we could capture one, we could find out through experimentation what they are vulnerable to. That might give us a way to kill them. Maybe chlorine gas will kill them. We don't know.
Be a hell of a trial to catch one, but yes, sure.
And it's,
Yeah, I heard they're strong. We'd have to muzzle
yeah.
them.
And it'd be somewhat, unethical for us, but then it's war.
Hmm.
Mustard gas, something like that. I know it's dangerous, but it's also heavier than air. So if we pumped it into the tunnels, it wouldn't come above the ground. And I'm
The
thinking about
army,
exterminating rats.
the army keeps stockpiles of it somewhere in England.
Oh,
So if we were to find, let's say, an entrance to one of these warrens, um, set off the stockpile, and then shut our entrance, the gas only has so many
it would,
places to go. It'll just go
yeah.
deeper into the tunnel.
But that's assuming that it would actually do anything to them.
Well, here's
That's why
a
we need an experiment.
Well, Grace might know. She's
And I
been
say this quietly so that Dr. Gross doesn't hear me talking about it.
Even though even the Dr. Gross is probably the one who would be able to try and think of something, but he would also say no. So yeah, you are correct with not speaking.
Well, the only problem with that is that the ghoul tunnels are connected to the bomb shelters. So if we gas them, then we could potentially gas the bomb shelters and then people would die.
Theoretically, we could do it in the daytime when nobody's in the bomb shelters.
Yeah, but gas sticks around for days. Mustard gas sticks around for even years. It can stick around.
Oh, great.
and even to add even more problems to that, not only does it connect to the bomb shelters, connects to the tube lines, and then wait for that to then go to deeper levels. You release too much of this stuff, and you are looking at massive amounts of collateral damage.
But it would look like the Germans did it, or
That the casualties are too great with that idea.
Who
once
needs a
again, it was
Luftwaffe
just
when
an
you've got you
idea.
guys? Yeah.
If George was hearing this, he'd be like, and I thought I was the crazy one. I'm surrounded
Well,
by crazy people.
we killed a ghoul, therefore we know they can be killed.
Killed multiple
It
ghouls.
just takes a lot.
And I think we're fortunate enough that other ghouls have not seen us kill the ghouls, otherwise they'd know our faces. Although,
That
did you tell us that they're asking around for you?
I was just that's what
Yeah.
I was going to. Oh, well, there is something I need to talk to you about. when I got to the shelter last night, the police were already there, and they seemed to, they said that a number of men had come and questioned the Monsignor and questioned the nuns about me. And I played dumb. I told them nothing about our current involvement, but they know something about us, and I don't know how. Do you recall me saying anything stupid to somebody, or?
I mean, what I recall is that you spoke to Davy, right?
Yeah. But I don't think Davy's still at the shelter. Did I see him
Yeah, but he
when
might
I
have
was there?
blabbed. Who knows?
Grace on the bed asks, "Who's Davy?"
The young man who was with Barry when they entered the shelter when you were following them. Probably meant to be Barry's next meal. Also,
yeah.
conveniently works at the Wilson meat distribution plant, which is where the butcher Graves was getting his meat, which in turn was turning him and his daughter into ghouls.
He was quite traumatized when he saw what's his name's true form.
Yes, when Barry was killed and reverted the child, and then we had to escape through the collapsed shelter through ghoul tunnels to the tube station. The fellow's interest in getting into the underground meat trade was curtailed rather sharply. Did we give your name at Wilson's meat distribution plant? I feel as though Goodale and I were sort of the front men there, and I don't know that anybody else showed ID or anything. So where would Shepard have gotten your name?
Yeah, can we try and remember?
I wasn't even there, was I?
You weren't there. No. If you put your heads together, I'll give you a chance for an int roll to see if you can work out who it is potentially that you've slipped your name to, and also specifically that they knew where to look for you, that there was to go back to the shelter.
Loose slips, sink ships, 26. Hard.
Hard's good.
The only person that I would have ever spoken of any of this to would be the Monsignor, except that I didn't speak of any of this to the Monsignor. I was going to wait until it was all done and over with.
You know, unless it's Nancy.
Yes.
Any advance? Oh, go on.
I've got a regular success only on it.
Oh.
Okay, so hard is looking like the best roll so far.
7. Yeah, just a regular.
Yeah, in which case, when Melvin says Nancy, Goodale, you're suddenly thinking, he turned up to, this is the father, turned up to Nancy's house, Nancy Wayne, and basically introduced himself. Hey, I'm Father Rent. You can find me at this address. It's either her or Davy has been in touch with someone while he's at the shelter. Those are the only two leads that you can think of. In which case, Nancy has sent other rat catchers to go and find out more about the father, or Davy has said something, going back to the Shepherd gang, and that then the Shepherd gang have come looking for the father. Those are the only two options that you can think of as to who would want to get him and know where he would be.
Surely the rat catchers wouldn't be so crude to just
They seem to be
go up.
pretty violent and straightforward in their methods.
I'm more
of
thinking
attack.
it's a Shepherd gang to do something like that. Besides, I'm sure Father would have told Nancy anything.
And why would Nancy have said anything to? Well, she would say something to the rat catchers, perhaps. We, in fact, asked her to. We wanted them to.
But didn't they kidnap the Monsignor?
Bearing in
Did
mind,
the Monsignor get kidnapped, or did they just question him?
Yes.
No, they took him.
I forgot all about that.
Didn't they actually assault somebody at the
nun, sister.
I don't think rat catchers would do that.
No, that does sound more gang-like, but also just remember,
Can we confirm
Nancy
Grace?
didn't like me. And if she was suspicious of me, and she knew your name and not mine, she could have put out feelers. But it does sound
I think the chances are
gang-related
far more
then.
that it was the Shepherd gang.
Yeah.
So we have
Nancy's
to rescue.
compromised. Should we have her cut herself in front of us? I don't know. I don't think she is compromised
The
because
problem is she is powerful. So we have to be careful.
What else? Are there any rat catchers outside of Nancy, Grace, and the fellow who keeps moving around? Look, you were basically
Kenneth?
down to a group of 3.
Yeah, Grace does nod and says, "Yeah, there's a handful of us."
Uh-huh. We only know about Hodge and Grace.
Does this sound like something they would do?
She smiles. I did say I was surprised that Nancy had taken you into her confidence so quickly, because normally we do a trial by fire. We take folks that if they say they're interested in helping us out after we've done a thorough background check on them, we take them down into the tunnels to then go hand to hand with one of the ghouls that we find down there. We don't lift a finger to help them. They have to survive that initial combat. I wouldn't put it past them that maybe sent a couple of the remaining members that are part of the reserved occupation list to go and have a word to do a fact-finding information about you if they knew nothing about you.
But would they kidnap them on Senior to get
because
me?
if he's someone that has intimate knowledge about you, if they didn't find you, he would be the next best person. They would probably take him to some alley, beat the shit out of him, maybe even to the point when he dies, to find out everything they could about you. Because they would want to learn every single detail about the real Father Rent, so that when they met you again next, they would be able to cross-reference that information via interrogation, and then find out whether you'd been replaced or not.
Well, then we need
part
your
of
help.
those teams.
We need your help. Then we need you to get into contact with them. I'll turn myself over to them. Hopefully, they haven't hurt the Monsignor, but I'm more concerned if it's the Shepherd
not
game.
an NT.
Oh,
If it's the Shepherd game, they'll torture me to death.
So
I won't
would
tell
we
them anything, but
we would have if you hadn't proven to me right here and now that you were not a ghoul, because I've lost count of how many people I've ended up having to kill that have been ghouls that are trying to get into our organization, and sometimes
hopefully vouch for me.
Well, yeah, I've seen that you're obviously human, so of course I will.
I mean, couldn't you just cut yourself every single time you meet to show that you're not compromised, instead of having to torture and beat each other up?
They want somebody who's tough.
We want people that are tough. We want people that are able to do the job and actually survive doing it, that they've got the guts to do this job. But also, some of those ghouls, just cutting isn't enough. That they have the ability to warp your minds. You might think you're seeing one thing when you're seeing something else. Your memories can be played with. So there are some powerful dark things down there that they can do.
If we let you go and let you go out of here today, how quickly can you get in touch with them?
She looks down at the wound in her side and says, "I'm not going anywhere for about a week," they told
The
me.
nurse said 6 days, Father. She can make a phone call to Nancy.
Well, how are
If
you going
that's
to prove
possible.
yourself that you're not compromised through a phone? Nancy's not going to buy it.
And she just gestures to the captain here. He gets the score.
Look, I'm worried. I'm more worried that it would be the Shepherd game. I will go to Nancy, and I will stay there. She should be able to contact them, and if they want to come and interrogate me, I welcome it.
Are you going to be able to go head toe-to-toe with a ghoul?
Probably not. I'll probably die. But
Well, we
if
need
the
to prep
Monsignor is still alive, I've been a Catholic priest. I know Kung Fu. No,
Hong Kong what now?
I'm I'm much more in favor of killing Nancy than sacrificing an operative. Like this lady is just a random
But I've
person.
already compromised us by them knowing
And
me.
Jean-Claude, just be respectful of what you say. I might have my gripes with the rat catchers and how they deal with things, but we are in the presence of one, and
We're we're
we need to be respectful.
we're
Well, seeing
talking
how
about innocent people. Monsignor has nothing to do with any of this.
My issue with this is they they've crossed the line here because I myself God is not exactly my thing, but I know for a fact any good person would not go after a man of God like that, would not take him and torture.
Almost sure that it's the Shepherd gang.
But if it's, then I am right to have been how I am towards them.
I'm not necessarily. I think that the rat catchers are doing what they've done, and they're extremely suspicious because that's what keeps them going. They're not fools. Am I right, Grace?
Yeah, she nods. I mean, I fully admit I'm paranoid, but with bloody good reason.
Indeed.
But if all the ghouls were gone, the rat catchers would find someone else to go after, I would assume.
Grace, ha-
Unfortunately, I doubt we're ever going to be in a situation where every ghoul is
Oh
gone.
no, we'll never
has
get
your
rid of them.
has your has your group ever thought to approach um, vetted government officials and tell them that there's this thing going on?
We know that they've already infiltrated the government, so that's. I don't see the point that all it would do is if we made a friend in government, we told them about this, they then poke their head above ground. The ghouls that are in a position of power would then have that person replaced.
My 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 gripe with all of this is not all the tribes of ghouls are going to be bad. Some of them are going to be good tribes. There
I
could
don't think
be
you would have.
good.
You should have said that.
Say that in front of.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Her eyes open wide, and it's like she can't comprehend the statement "ghoul, good."
However, George does. This is my. I see it from a different perspective because of my time with the occult. I understand what you're doing and I admire what you do, but I have to see it from a different perspective, and you have to
No,
at least
good,
allow me
good
to see
or
it from a different perspective.
Dr. Gross, it's a philosophical idea. Sure, there are good and bad people. There are good and bad Germans, but we're at war and they are actively trying to kill us.
Yes, but
Therefore,
not all
we
of them
have to.
actively trying to.
So, how do you distinguish the good Germans from the bad Germans? You just
Well, how do you
have
know that
to.
they're not all
There's
trying to kill us? Like, we
there's
don't have that.
collateral
Yes,
damage.
but then how do we distinguish who's a good rat catcher, who's a bad rat catcher? I'm just pointing out that some of you are going to take it more extreme than others.
Well, I've never seen a ghoul not try to kill me.
We can either do something or not do something. I choose that we have to do something.
Yes,
We
but
can't do nothing.
I would rather also have a chance to talk to this Mr. Black, to at least see if I die, I die. I'm not going to lie. I'm not exactly the fit of health these days.
Yeah, I think we should talk to him with a little bit of persuasive power on our side, you know?
No, 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 no. Because that would make it worse. If if we talk to
What are you
Mr.
going to
Black, it
talk to
has
him
to
about?
be so. I
Hey, are
just
you a
want to
friend of the
see.
ghouls? Yes.
No,
We know
I'm
you're a
not.
ghoul. We know you're a friend of ghouls. We know all about you. Would you like to murder us all?
It's not more of a. I just want to see what kind of person he is.
Look, someone needs to go with you to make sure that you don't spill.
Yeah. We waterboard him, take all the information about the weaknesses of the ghouls from him. Job done.
If anyone's looking at Nancy at this point, the expression on her face is like saying, "I like this guy." So,
Okay, so I'm not opposed to you seeing the Undertaker, but you have to go with Jean-Claude. And I point towards Jean-Claude.
I'm fine with that, but Jean-Claude, you cannot just attack a man. You have to at least listen to him.
It's a dialectical synthesis of the two poles of our organization: pro-ghoul, anti-ghoul.
I wouldn't say
I'll go with the father just to back him up in case he gets kidnapped and Melvin, I assume you can.
I'm against to decide.
Yeah, you can decide.
I decide whether I go on the fool's errand or the murder spree.
Great choices.
The question is which is which.
Redundant.
That's for you to decide.
I mean, you could do neither.
I'm afraid, from my perspective, it's out of my hands. I have to be caught, and I will either be tortured and murdered by the ghouls and tell them nothing, or I will be
Face to face with a ghoul, trial by
or
fire.
possibly convince the rat catchers that we're on their side. I can just tell them to call Grace in the hospital.
Again, except that they don't accept anybody's identity as their identity unless they can prove it directly.
That would be a terrible tragedy, and I'd be the victim of it, but I don't see any other choice.
I also don't know why you're of such remarkable certainty that you could withstand ghoul torture and not give things away. Seems like a rather
I'm a
strange
priest.
risk
I
to
have
take.
everybody's. My whole life has been keeping people's secrets.
Yes, but you've never been tortured by an inhuman creature regarding
Well,
that.
You haven't been taught in a Jesuit school until you know what torture is.
To everyone else, it's torture. To you, it's Tuesday. Yeah.
Archbishop Paul Gallion
Honestly,
once
that's why
locked me
I'm
in
here
an
to
oven.
ensure that none of that happens, Melvin. I'm going to keep an overwatch on the father.
And you could also do the test we just did with the cutting yourself.
So I'm only worried that it's the gang. If it's the gang, I'm dead.
But does it not make more sense then to go and put a gentle hand on Davy's shoulder and say, lad, is it possible you've let something slip, and eliminate that possibility? Because
I could do that.
Yes, I'd like to go back to your church and then maybe gather more clues.
I'm afraid that I'm endangering the sisters. But
clearly one of them has been beaten.
that might be a good way to do it. I'll go back there.
Felix, you took him to the church. We need to assure that he's safe, because if the Shepherd gang visited the church and Felix is there, then he's going to get kidnapped back.
If he's lucky.
The Shepherd, yeah.
Well, I agree. We can do that. And I just want you all to know that it's been marvelous working with you, and I hope that continues. But if it doesn't,
you're not going to die, Father.
Good luck.
I put my hand on your shoulder.
We're all going to die eventually.
Yeah, we all
Hopefully not
slowly
tomorrow.
Or even today.
It's we haven't even lunched yet.
Grace does chime in by saying, dying's the last thing I want to do, and just does a smile.
And I've become a vegetarian thanks to the meat trade.
And speaking of lunch, Grace, the doctors are eager to see if you can get something into you. Should we call for a tray?
Yeah, something light. Could like murder some eggs, like eggs on toast or something.
Very good. I'll step out and see about that.
Yep, no problem. Guard's still outside. There's nothing ominous happening outside your door, so you can go take that as read that you can get stuff coming.
Flag down a nurse and get some juice and maybe not juice in wartime. Maybe some weak tea and some eggs.
Yeah, maybe apple juice at a push, but getting stuff a bit more exotic like orange is a bit more difficult in the UK. But apple's definitely easier. So yeah, probably apple juice, or let's say tea, definitely, because hell, the country still runs on it.
And as for plans, if Goodale's taking Father back to the shelter to question Davy and maybe get any other information about, maybe Grace, you could tell us what some of the other rat catchers who are still about look like, if the nun could identify some, oh yes, there was a ruddy fellow with a black mustache, and we could figure out which group had the Monsignor, that would be helpful.
Mhm.
Give us their names.
Well, I don't think
Oh,
they
names
identified
can be
themselves to the
faked.
nuns they were beating.
Mhm.
I was actually going to say that question alone would suddenly raise her suspicions that this has all been an elaborate ruse to get that information.
Just a little bit. You might be undoing some work there that you've otherwise done a fairly good job at. But she does also say that we also don't operate as one cohesive unit. So there are,
Right.
like as I'm sure you've probably made aware of, if you've had a word with Nancy, you've almost certainly come across one of the other names in my book.
Kenneth Hodge?
Yes, I'm very sure you wouldn't have met him yet.
No,
No.
he seems to be on the move.
Yeah, she smiles somewhat. Yeah, thought so. Kind of expression on her face. He's difficult at the best of times to try and get hold of. So, yeah, an outsider without much time, only a single day. Yeah, you wouldn't have found him. More likely, he'll be one coming to find you if they've managed to get word back to him by now.
Did we leave a card at his place? Is it possible, Father, that that's an additional connection and not just Nancy? I mean, it amounts to the same thing, I suppose.
I don't think we did,
I don't think he did either.
but I do think I gave a card to Nancy for the shelter. That's
You definitely did.
so she would know that.
Hmm.
We've stumbled on terrible conspiracy. We need to somehow recruit more people into our organization. Make sure N knows everything that's going on. Maybe we should test N. And we know none of us know what N actually stands for.
He's something
Could
far
be
worse than a ghoul.
Necromancer.
It's just the the government designations like N, Q, M, etc.
Well, if you're Gross and Crochet, if you're going toward Bow Cemetery, I might stop and have a plowman's at the shoulder of mutton during bright daylight and see what that population looks like.
I would advise you to use that ointment and some perfume.
Hmm. Yes, that actually might be a more useful fact-finding mission. If I could see who was what there.
And you can even see if there's just ghouls walking around during the day on the street.
It's an alarming prospect, actually.
Yes.
You, where were you, Grace, with you knew that there were competing ghoul factions. You were not aware that they were tainting meat for public consumption to turn humans into ghouls?
I think I'm aware now.
Yes. So that was something information that we brought to you.
It's confirmed some suspicions, like for instance how the family, the Stubbings, are starting to turn. That was that if it was something that they'd been exposed to all at the same time, food was one of the options on the list.
Right. So we visited one of the meat distribution places yesterday and determined that the fellow who runs it is replaced. And we have a home location for him, but he didn't go home last night.
I wonder why that might be.
I'm quite busy in the tunnels, meeping. So we have to figure out a mechanism for eliminating Wilson as well, which apparently doesn't rely on waiting for him to leave work and go to his former home.
Oh, if I was again, she looks down at the wound. If I was in a fit state to do anything, I'd potentially be looking to find out when he's most vulnerable and least protected. So if you're saying that he spends the majority of his time at this meat facility or this distribution center, the workers have got to leave at some point, and if he doesn't, then that makes sense. That would be the time to do it when he's there, in theory, with less people around him. Well, less humans around him anyway.
Right. I don't know whether those places operate a night shift or not. Something we could look into.
I'd be surprised considering the whole situation with the blackouts
Fine point.
and the,
Yes.
and the bombing raids. I'd be very, very, very surprised if there's anyone that's even contemplating being offered enough payment to work through the night without getting down to a shelter.
Right. Yeah. Operating machinery, no less. Yes. Nothing. Yeah. Very good. So maybe after our our midday excursions, we can meet up, maybe infiltrate the meat distribution place, find a place to hide until the regular folks leave, and then blast him full of holes.
Yep, works for me. Just sit in his office, wait till he unlocks the door, shotgun.
Nancy nods approvingly.
Yeah, but like he doesn't go home. He probably emerges from the warrens attached to the meatpacking plant because there's definitely warrens attached to the meatpacking plant.
If he's been replaced, I would be incredibly surprised if there wasn't.
Yeah, he has been replaced. We've all but confirmed it.
They seem to be able to make warrens come up to whatever structure they want to.
Mm. Oh, she
They're
nods
diggers.
she nods emphatically at that.
What would happen if we could somehow get the Thames to flood the tunnel?
I imagine you'd be able to cause a certain degree of disruption, but because we've had similar thoughts before about what if we either flood their warrens with sewage and let disease take its course, that they are annoyingly very adept engineers, that they just collapse the tunnels that cause them problems and then just build new ones.
Yes, that's the
They
nice
have-
thing about regular vermin is they don't have culture.
Hmm. I don't know, even regular rats, they're adept physicists as well. I mean, I've seen them burrow under patios and slabs and being able to find points where they can have the slab tilt so it gives them purchase to then get above ground. They're sneaky little vermin.
The thing is that with rats, cities have kind of thrown the rat population off, but there's usually a balance that eventually occurs between one animal and another. The rats, I would think that perhaps for thousands of years, if these ghouls have existed, then they've existed in a kind of balance with humans. And this is really throwing it off. So I don't know if they'll all end up starving to death if they all eat up all their food, or they suddenly start murdering humans to get more food.
Well, this was one of the things we found, is that we did think we'd turn the tide and that we were forcing a lot of the resident population out of London into the countryside. But ever since the war started, and that particularly with the bombing campaign and more bodies being made available, that's almost been like ringing the dinner bell.
Yeah.
So they've all, a whole load of them have started to flock back into the town, into the city, being very opportunist. But as you said, there are factions at war. There are multiple tribes that are at each other's throats, either vying to protect the reserves of bodies that they have, protect the cemeteries that they call home, or yeah, just whether they're groups that are trying to expand or muscle in on each other's territory, there's plenty of friction that's been exploited there, and this influx of ghouls from the countryside has only exacerbated that. I mean, hell, we've even unfortunately lost folks that have been caught in ploys by trying to use us as weapons against rival tribes.
Wonder what weapons ghouls have against other ghouls. Is it just their physical fighting, or do they know something we don't?
Well, no, like I said, there are some of the elders, for want of a better term, the really ancient ones that are down there. They have access to arcane arts, and she gestures to the rows of tattoos that I mentioned she has about kind of her upper chest. That's why I haven't done this just for as an artistic statement. I've taken any precaution I can to have any kind of protection against whatever dark magics or sorceries they throw at us.
I would like very much to discuss some of that with you, but I think we need to go to the shelter and get something done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very worried about Monsignor. He may be dead already, but
Well, I got your back.
shall we go? Good luck at the cemetery. I think it's dangerous, almost beyond. You have been warned not to go there, but
I mean, I would say the same for you.
well, I have to.
Caretaker Black is not the danger. Being around the Bow Street Cemetery at night is dangerous.
Black is dangerous if he's got connections. You're going to reveal your hand to him.
Well, let's not give him our name,
Well,
what you say, and where we work. Like some sort of trusting Jesuit.
I'm gonna use Black's. I'm gonna use my touring name, the one that I would use when I am not here.
And good luck, Melvin. You're checking out the mutton.
Yes, and that's just down the road from where these lads will be, so we'll be able to meet up or
Okay.
give each other back up if
And
necessary.
you'll use your.
Yes, Gross has got. I assume Grace gave the bottle back to Gross. I'll anoint myself.
When it's time.
Yes. We have been looking into this matter. Have you found a particularly tolerable way to extract fluid from the living eyeball?
Trying to find donors is almost impossible for living eyeballs. That's why we have to make do with the recently dead.
All right. Yeah.
We need some of that stuff too.
Well, if you can supply, she almost says quite flippantly, "Well, if you can supply me with a whole lot of eyes, then I can potentially make it." But Nancy's normally the one that makes it for us.
Yes.
We have the formula, so
and we're on
I'm hoping
good terms.
medically in the hospital we'll be able to.
Yes, we're on good terms with the morgue here as it happens. So
she's a little bit stunned in a good way by that. That would help.
yeah, they've noticed that some of the cadavers coming in don't seem entirely right, which is part of how we came to learn about you and your colleagues. So, you should have come in. It's very good to meet you. I'm glad that you're on the mend. We'll keep you up to date on our progress.
Yeah, no, I'd very much like to be kept in the loop, and you can see it does take a little bit of an effort for her to say this, but she says, "Thank you for saving me."
You're welcome.
Yes, you in turn have saved many of us, so the least we can do.
Would you prefer the police being here or no?
If you can vouch for them and you're certain that they're not being replaced, then I'm fine with it.
All right, so no police then.
She nods with a smile, saying, "The last thing I want is that a ghoul identifies this nice innocent, tasty policeman replaces them, and then they use that as a method by which to get to me.
All right. So I'll relieve the officer and say there's no need for. She's been cleared as a suspect.
Can we also perhaps speak to someone on staff about having her here under a different name?
Yeah, I mean, as said before, you've got Dr. Morris and also the other Nancy, Nancy Valance here.
Yeah, Nancy Valance would understand the necessity more readily, being a member of the group. So yeah, let's have her. Let's perhaps change her room and certainly change her name to something distinct that we will know and the enemy will not.
That's a good idea. And I think if she does manage to escape the hospital, should her life be in danger, I'll tell her the address of like a dead drop, leave a note. No, I check this every day.
Yeah, great stuff.
As Captain Oswald and I are walking out the door, it suddenly occurs to me, I put my hand on his shoulder and I said, if Nancy is the leak, we did tell Nancy that Grace was here in the hospital. And she seemed very interested when we said
Didn't you notice something wrong when she said, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow? She gave you like a mischievous look or something. You were explaining that.
Well, I mean, we didn't know how to read her. She seemed extremely wary. I mean, she would have shot us dead if we hadn't convinced her. I think
Well, if
that
I
we're
was
not
a mastermind, if I
100%
could
on.
use people to do my bidding, I wouldn't just shoot them dead.
Yes,
I
that
think
was
Nancy-
when the father and I parted ways with her, not when the father and Gross did. She did peculiarly say something about today, even though we hadn't made any specific plans, which does perhaps suggest strongly that it is she that sent someone to the shelter to
Could she
collect
have been
father
replaced
And
when we...
or that she was just intending to send rat catchers after you.
I'm going to turn back to Grace and say, I've got a very interesting question.
Yeah, she raises an eyebrow.
When a ghoul replaces a human, they eat the human, they consume them.
Correct.
Yes? If a ghoul consumes someone who's had their leg cut off, do they assume the person with their leg cut off or the whole person as they were before they had their leg cut off?
Yeah, you can see that she definitely starts to ponder that. I've only ever come across instances where they've deliberately, intentionally tried to masquerade as someone who would look fairly normal. So they haven't targeted those with disfigurements or missing limbs because it's harder for them to act in such a way. Why masquerade as someone like that when they could masquerade as someone that's got 2 arms and 2 legs?
Well, Nancy is someone like that.
No, I get that, but I'm saying I've only met them when they've proactively gone for easier, normal, whole individuals.
We're suddenly concerned because there did seem to be a slight change in Nancy's behavior from the first time that we met her to the second time that we met her. Would they be able to imitate Nancy, even though she is in a wheelchair and crippled and quite obviously scarred and damaged? Or would she turn into perfect Nancy, normal Nancy? I don't know. That's a very interesting question.
And is visuals the only thing that they can take? What about memory?
No, they can, if they eat the brain, they can also take the memories of those that they've those
so if
that
Nancy has
masquerading
gotten
as.
herself eaten, then we're in trouble.
Gross will ponder something here. What if between our visits something happened because there'd be a moment of transformation and things wouldn't happen straight away. So it might be she is still Nancy, but if we were to see her now and she did change, it might be that she has all her limbs.
Or I think Occam's razor would cut away and say she was trusting enough of you during your first visit that she didn't shoot you both with her shotgun in her apartment building, but immediately after you left, called a couple of rat catchers to go and check up on the good father.
Trust but verify.
That's good. That's good. And she didn't seem to, she remembered me, but she didn't know you. And she didn't mention Gross.
No.
Okay, it's just another one of these many things that I could cross my mind. Let's keep our mind open to all of these possibilities.
I can see how the dealing with body snatching fiends over a period of years could make someone a bit on the paranoid side.
Well,
I'd say so.
I have another. It could potentially not be to do. Well, it still will be to do with the ghouls, but she is a powerful, like sorceress. She's very. I could sense it, and the thing is with power, especially when you lean into the occult, it can overtake you if you use it too frequently. So my worry here is maybe it has consumed her and she is now even more paranoid. We've gone and we've triggered something, and now she's probably going to get even worse, and that might lead to something worse. Speculation, but small little actions build up. And
the way your eyes twinkle and get rather large when you talk about it, Dr. Gross, seems to indicate that you know what you're talking about, perhaps from personal experience. Let's go.
Remember, I've been with you for a long time.
Right, so if I've read the situation accurately, we've got Jean-Claude and Gross going to have a word with groundskeeper Willie stroke Mr. Black down at the Bow Cemetery. Captain Goodale and Father Rent going to go and see a harmless old lady in a wheelchair. And Melvin going to have a chat with, see if he can get something to eat at the Shoulder of Mutton.
Wait, who's going to see harmless old lady in a wheelchair?
Father Rent, so yourself.
I believe we're going.
No, we're going to the shelter.
Shelter, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, so yeah, the two of you going to the shelter
Yeah.
rather than going there. Okay, great stuff. Right, I think we'll deal with groundskeeper Willie first, and then we'll cut over to Melvin after that, and then we'll go to the shelter. So, Dr. Gross, Jean-Claude, you arrive over at the Tower Hamlets Cemetery, say now lovingly referred to as Bow Cemetery. And for anyone who's not been to one of the larger cemeteries in London, it's an interesting place. You have, in this case, it's one large plot, but thinking of somewhere like Highgate Cemetery, where it's split between multiple plots, you have central aisles, almost like or thoroughfares that run through the graveyard, which you then have above ground crypts, which are wonderful examples of Victorian architecture, because the Victorians had a big thing about the dead, and they had lots of reverence for iconography, lots of statues and lots of decoration that they put around the place. But over time, these cemeteries have become more clogged. So what was at one time this wonderful necropolis of reverence to the dead has fallen into a bit of a disrepair. There's trees which are growing between some of the crypts. There's areas which are a little bit more overgrown, and particularly with it being a war on, frankly, manpower is better directed elsewhere rather than to tend to a graveyard. So, if you did a walk around the border and look through the big wrought iron fence, you'd be able to see little snippets of this vast territory where there's undulating hills. It's not all flat here by all means. You can see there's areas where there are denses of trees which are a bit more grouped together. Some of the thoroughfares are a bit more cracked pavement slabs. Some of the crypts are maybe starting to slightly subside and off at one angle, because I wonder why that could be happening. And the place is in a bit of disrepair. But there are numerous entrances that allow entrance into the complex. So it's not just like there's a single main gate that you can go in through. But one of the larger gates you do see is being used as a more like a main entrance. But it's just to say it's not the only way in. And via there is immediately outside of the walled and gated perimeter, there is a small, I hate to use the word cottage because it's more like it's just a small house. It's not something so quaint as a cottage, but a small house that's immediately outside, which you think would be historically the groundskeeper's house. That this would almost be someone that would be almost certainly would be someone that's in the employ of the local church that would then be tending to the site on a fairly long-term basis. This is kind of a job that stays with you for decades. It's kind of almost like a lifelong calling rather than a job that's kind of they advertise for.
Would we have been able to come in a car?
Yeah, you've got access through the likes of network end to be able to get a car and get some of that very valuable fuel rationed to you to be able to move around, because you are, as far as network end is concerned, you are going on official business. So they put it as official business on the requisition form.
Jean-Claude, we must use caution, and please do not jump the gun, because
I'll
that
let
might
you
make
do the talking.
just considering where we are. Please do not jump the literal gun, because we might die. That's what I'm going to say. Right. First off, let's just case the area a bit more before we walk up to the cottage, just so we can get the lay of the land a bit. Is there one way into the cottage or two ways out? Two ways?
That'd be front
How many
and back
windows?
Route. Yeah, there's going to be ground floor windows. You don't see any basement windows, but you see ground floor and first floor windows. There's a little courtyard at the back that's walled off that then has a separate gate that gets through to the back of that. So there's a couple of different ways in.
Do we see anyone wandering around? Obviously, it's a cemetery and it's the middle of the day, but anyone who looks groundskeeper wandering around?
There's no one immediately obvious that you can see through the wrought iron fence that goes, that's anyone's moving around inside the cemetery. But there are folks which are moving around outside it, because there's a community around here. So there are people going to be walking either to and fro, either on the way to work or going back from the shelters. So there are people around. There is life here.
Okay.
So if you do start to, if you do worry about Jean-Claude literally jumping the gun, there's going to be people around that might hear gunshots or other such activity. Yes.
I think let's just take a little wander and see if there's an immediate reaction to our presence without even getting close to the cottage.
Okay. Between the two of you, then, could I have a party luck roll? So whoever has the lowest luck out of the two of you.
Probably me.
I'm feeling this might be this way for a while. You know.
What is your luck?
35.
Oh yeah, that's lower than mine.
Okay. I rolled a 38. So
you're not seeing anyone. So it's. I mean, there's definitely the sign. Looking at the little the small house there, they say the cottage. You can see all the blackout curtains are still drawn. There's no sign that any of them have been opened, but also there's no sign looking through the fence of that there's a blatant activity of there being a groundskeeper or caretaker visible.
Jean-Claude, just follow my lead, and if asks for your name, give a different name.
Yeah, I'll just follow Gross.
I am gonna go up to the cottage. Just let's just try something. A groundskeeper would know the grounds like the back of their hand. Let's use that to our advantage. I will walk up to the cottage and I'm gonna knock.
Okay, you knock forcefully on the door. How long do you want to wait?
We'll give it 5 minutes. That's a reasonable amount of time.
Your second hand goes round the clock face 5 times. There is no response.
Okay. This is a little worrying, Jean-Claude.
Well, should we postpone the diplomatic route?
No, 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 no. Let's just wander the grounds for a while. Just do a little lap of the grounds, because surely if he doesn't want anyone being too around this area too much, he might actually appear out of nowhere.
Take
If
a piss
he
on
is
one of the
actually here.
gravestones?
No,
That would get him mad.
do not pee on the gravestones. Let's wander. I feel like I'm dealing with a child, Jean-Claude.
So you're going to go into the cemetery grounds and try to find him on site.
Not proactively looking, just wandering and seeing. Obviously, we're going to be careful.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to go too deep, but just on the outskirts of the.
So you're staying close to the the edge,
Yeah.
but still going inside the grounds. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you're actively looking for him, I'll ask for a spot hidden roll from yourselves, and I will then roll on my side as well for something.
Okay, I got 28, which is a hard success.
Ooh.
I just got a regular.
Right, and what are your stealth skills? What's your stealth stats looking like?
I have a 42 in stealth.
I have
Okay.
a 50.
Okay. In which case, yeah, Dr. Gross, you're not noticing. You're from the perspective of what I've just done. You're feeling like there's no worry. Jean-Claude, you maybe the hairs on the back of your neck kind of stand up when you go when you're walking down some of these larger thoroughfares through the graveyard. You have the distinct impression you are being watched.
I think we've attracted some attention, Dr. Gross.
Okay, then.
Human or otherwise.
You think the latter?
Then what we do, Jean-Claude, is we start to walk back towards the entrance, but do not leave.
Okay.
We're just trying to draw someone out.
Mhm.
The more we stick around, the more likely we are to attract someone to come and talk to us. So.
Good. And remind me what level did you get on your spot hidden checks?
I got a
regular,
hard.
but I could spend for a hard.
As long as one of you is fine, in that case, that's fine. So yeah, Jean-Claude, you're definitely positive that you're not just being watched by one set of eyes; that there are multiple sets that are watching you, and maybe occasionally glancing towards some of these crypt openings. They've got doors that go into dark recesses inside. A lot of them do tend to have bars across the front as well, so the members of the public can't just walk into these private crypts. And some of these are also, they go down below ground, so you can see that there is just these ominous steps going down into the dark with these bars of iron across them. That some of those shadows, you're fairly certain, move, as if they just retreat and slink back down the stairs. Whereas Dr. Gross, as you're wandering around, you're more concentrating, looking for human occupation here. And after a few minutes of just lingering and taking your time down the main thoroughfare.
Yeah, we'll be checking out graves as well. Just make it look more normal.
You're supposed to be there, yeah. You do a bit of a double take as you realise that what you thought for a moment was actually a statue down one end of this thoroughfare. Like, again, one of the many pictures of, one of the many depictions of either a Grim Reaper or an angelic figure. It's not a statue, because the shovel it's holding in one hand that you thought may have been a pole or like maybe a flag potentially or something, or even just a staff, it moves to its other hand, and there is very definitely a figure holding a shovel that is just looking in your direction, keeping their distance. But yeah, there's a guy with a flat cap just watching you.
Okay. Jean-Claude. I point Jean-Claude in the direction. Jean-Claude, just you seem a bit on edge, so just keep an eye around on us as we walk towards him. I'm not going to get too close, but I want to get closer so I'm not shouting when I talk. Hello?
Sorry.
Are you the groundskeeper? Are you the groundskeeper? I'm looking for the groundskeeper.
Yeah, he nods. He kind of doffs his, he kind of pulls the lip of his cap slightly. That'll be me, Silas Black.
Yes, that's who I was recommended, Mr. Black. I'm looking for a specific grave. I was told this might be the cemetery to come to.
Hey, if you're looking for graves, you're in the right place. He smiles and chuckles to himself.
But I thought you might be the person who knows. I would assume that you would know a lot of who is here and who isn't here.
Kind of my job.
My name is Arkady Verlichek. I'm looking for Nikolai Verlichek.
He genuinely looks a little bit confused. It's an odd name. Not one I've come across before. Is it maybe Polish?
Yeah, but Polish Russian is a little bit a bastardization there.
But you sound like you're born and bred here. You don't have much of an accent.
So there's a little twinge every so often. I've lived here a long enough time.
Okay. He nods and then cocks his head to one side. Honestly, not a name I'm familiar with. I can't think off the top of my head that we've got anyone with odd names like that. They tend to stick out.
Yeah. Do you have any unmarked graves? Because I don't know much. I don't know if it's marked or not. It's the issue.
Well, if it's unmarked, then I've not got any record of it because it's by definition.
Yeah, I know, but
I mean, this isn't like the likes of like Crossbone Cemetery. This isn't a massive plague pit or just a large mass grave.
Yeah.
Everyone that's interred here had the money and had the resources to do so.
Okay.
I've got a fairly extensive catalogue that I can refer to back at my house.
The thing is, he might have gone by a different last name because when they came over, I have a few last names, but I would need to actually see the list to see. But I have to locate his grave just so that I can do the right paperwork because he has a certain text that he was buried with that I would need to acquire.
This is sounding from the GM's perspective. This is sounding a lot like bullshit. So you can give me a fast talk roll.
Yep, 100%. I'm trying to bring in truth, but bend it a little bit there. So, what even is my fast talk?
Is it base?
No, it's not. It's not base.
Okay.
It's not base. It's 25, so it's not base. But
1 in 4 chance, hey?
yeah, let's have a. I'm spending the 6 look. I know I'm already down look, but I'm spending the 6 look to succeed.
Just securing your position as the party luck roll. That's all you need to do. Right. With a success, then he kind of you see him kind of and ah for a moment and say, I don't see it being any harm having a look through the catalogue. Yeah, he pulls up his shovel and kind of tucks it under one arm and says, "Yeah, come this way."
As we keep a little bit of a distance, I go to Jean-Claude. When we enter, just have a little look around. Not, don't be so obvious, but
Yeah, I also want to look him over just as he's standing out there.
Okay. So we'll pan away from the scene for the minute then, with you having made contact with Black and going back to his lovely abode. Meanwhile, over in a distinctly shitty part of town, the Shoulder of Mutton. So this lovely establishment looks like it has definitely seen better days. The whole area around here is quieter than you would normally think for a lot of residential areas should be. There's certain properties that have been bombed out already, so you can see that there's just piles of rubble where some houses used to stand. This is an area that's been hit by the bombing. It's not been spared at all, and areas of it have just been forgotten or put aside to think there's one day we might rebuild, but given the state of the surrounding neighborhood, might be a while. Some of the walls are blackened here from long-term soot. The place is just dirty, and it has this grimy feel that even just by standing here, you even think you're just unclean, really. It's a very, very dirty neighborhood.
And we're not very far from the Bow Cemetery at all, right?
You're essentially down the road from it, so you're not too far from Gross and Jean-Claude.
Right. And the presumed nest of fiends beneath, so.
Indeed. Yeah.
Do any of the blast sites look as though they've had to cover over a deeper pit or tunnel?
Not from what you can see immediately. Part of what helps here is that just when there's been a large explosion and a house has collapsed, there's a hell of a lot of rubble that comes down. So that would mask a lot of any tunnel work beneath it anyway, because you're looking at what could be maybe about that much of rubble versus that much. It's still a massive pile of brickwork and such. So it's very, very hard to tell. But just immediately, taking a layman's look over it, there's nothing that immediately screams that's hiding something that was buried underneath it.
Good. Yep. I'm also smoking even more heavily than usual in case the scent of the eye goo should be detectable at a distance.
Gotcha. Yeah, admittedly, it would take someone getting right up close and personal to have a good whiff of it if they were trying to smell your eyes. That's an interesting visual scene.
I wouldn't be surprised if ghoul scent glands were attuned to something like decaying matter. So,
yeah, you suddenly taste a hell of a lot more nicer to them than you do to anyone else. But yeah, there are a few people that you do see out on the street, but it's not as much as even around the cemetery area. There's not as many people as there are around there. It's a handful of people. So if stuff was to go down here, intervention from the outside would probably be less likely. And even then, you do notice people generally do tend to walk. If they are walking down the street, they almost cross the road from where the Shoulder of Mutton is before they continue their journey on the other side. People are giving this place a bit of a wide berth.
Great. Perfect spot to go alone for a lunch then.
Right. You head on. There's a single door which is on the building because it sits on a corner. That corner has then been cut off to make the front door, so to make the main entrance. So you can see it opens up into a small little vestibule, and then there's another set of doors that go through immediately into that, and that would then go into the main body of the pub.
Good, yep.
So, you push on through the door, and the very first thing that hits you is the smell. This place has an aroma. old tobacco, old sweat, smoke, body odor. It's almost that they've forgotten that cleaning staff exist. That this place has definitely got a funk to it.
Mm.
And the place, it does take you a little while for your eyes to adjust because the blackout curtains are not completely pulled. There's enough of a gap where you can see there are shafts of light coming in from the various windows here, cutting through the dust that is perpetually hanging in the air. And you can see there are a few figures in here, sat at the bar, or rather, not quite slumped at the bar, but definitely propping it up. That you can see then are slurping away at either pint mugs or cups. But you're not alone here. There are definitely some patrons in here even before noon.
Mm-hmm. And there are tables as well as the bar?
Yep, all the tables are completely vacant.
Right. So I'll just approach the bar and look for a barman behind it.
Yeah, there is indeed the obligatory barman there that is doing what all good bartenders should do. He has a glass and he is diligently polishing it, or in this case, taking a dirty glass and just moving the dirt around a bit. But you can see that he's not looking what he's doing, but he is looking in your he's looking in your direction, having clocked you coming in through the front door, and is just giving you the eye.
Mm. Probably for a pint of bitter, if you would, and if you do a ploughman's, I'm meeting some people not far away, but I haven't eaten.
You can see the guy, he just does that almost like low growl in his throat, where it's wanders over towards you without breaking eye contact. His eyes narrowing slightly as he takes another glass from under the counter, and then starts to pull back on one of the pumps. Very unceremoniously, just almost doesn't slam it, but puts it down quite forcefully in front of you to the point where there's now a bit of a slop of ale over the counter, adding to the already evidently sticky layer of stuff on top.
Mm-hmm.
You're not from around here, are you?
No, sir. Again, I'm meeting some folks who are paying their respects up at cemetery, but I don't enjoy hanging out about in those places. So
you're not meeting here though, no?
No. I'm just filling up some time.
Good, because I wasn't asking. I was telling you.
Understood. Why? So maybe a no on the ploughman's then.
You can give me. There's a couple of ways that you can potentially do this. I'm reading by kind of tone of your voice. It's more like a meek rather than kind of meeting his intimidation with intimidation. So
yeah.
you can try either psychology or persuade if you want to give me one of those.
I have 5 more psychology, so I am good at speaking to people. Oh, 18 is hard on either. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're kind of holding your ground, but not being intimidating in return.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy does start to back off slightly. Says that's good because this is a local pub for local people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, certainly understand that sort of thing.
I'm sure we can rustle something up for you though.
Well, I'd appreciate it.
As you can see, we haven't got many of the locals have come in yet, so we can accommodate you before it starts to get a bit busier.
I appreciate the effort. Yeah, and I'll I'll nod and take the pint over to one of the tables and not mingle. I assume that my ghoul juice hasn't said that I'm in a nest of literal beasts.
Correct. Everyone that you are seeing around here appears perfectly normal.
Human.
Well, yeah, they appear human. Yeah, I should have said that more than normal.
Very good.
You relieve the countertop of its of the very sticky glass as you pull it up, only to then for it to be sucked onto the table that you put it down on. That's also equally sticky. And yeah, the place just has this kind of oppressive atmosphere to it.
Mm-hmm.
The guys at the bar, they don't even seem to really talk to themselves. They're just there, minding their own business, looking after their own drinks, seemingly getting refills almost without any kind of verbal communication. It's maybe they're giving a nod or an indication to to their pots or their glasses to be refilled, but no one's here saying a word, and it's very eerie and very disquieting.
Mm-hmm. It stinks of old smoke, spilled drinks,
Mm-hmm.
fatty food. Does it smell charnel at all?
No, if anything, the food is actually the smell or the odor of food like that you'd expect is much less. It just seems like there's not much by way of eating that takes place here. But this is definitely a booze establishment and a meeting place, but they just haven't had any kind of inclination to clean it. You're not getting any immediate vibe of the smell of death.
Okay. And there aren't any, I was observing through the filth, there aren't any sort of insignia or anything that suggest I'm thinking, sort of if the Shepherd gang had some kind of mark, they haven't carved it into anything here. It's just a run-down, grotty old pub.
But there's definitely signs where a few of these tables, because you will have passed a few of them going to the bar and then coming back again, there have been the obligatory, someone with a knife has carved something into the table. So you find there is going to be this grotty graffiti that's over various parts of it. But again, it's just layers of muck have even started to cover those over. So some of them you're only really catching when you see them in the light coming, these shafts of light coming from the window. When you see them at particular angles, you can see that the desks or the tables are covered in this stuff. But there's nothing blatant like any symbols or gang signs that are here. It all just has that kind of really run down, dirty, oppressive feel to the place.
So I'd like to drink the pint, eat the ploughman's, which I'm hoping doesn't have any ham portion, just, cheese, bread, pickle.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to eat meat here. And thank the fellow and pay and say, I appreciate the hospitality. Just going up the hill then to meet the fellows at the cemetery, my friend Davy Reed and his family, and see if that has any effect as I'm like in the doorway.
Ooh, give me a luck roll.
Oh, great. Oh, 72 is the inverse of my luck.
Okay. The guy makes absolutely no reaction to the name and doesn't even bat an eye about about mentioning the cemetery. But yeah, apart from that, he says, "Go, I'd say go and have fun. There's not much, not exactly a kind of lively ground for a party up there."
No, sir. Thanks again.
Yeah, he kind of takes the plate unceremoniously off the table again with a kind of sticky slurp as he pulls it off, and just watches you head out towards the front door. Give me a listen roll as you head out.
I'm joining Dr. Gross in the race for the bottom of the group luck pile. I have to spend 5. Oh, that's what I got. 5 to make that regular.
Oh, okay. In which case, as you leave, just as the door, you push the door open to get into that vestibule area, you swear that you hear something directly below you through the floor, that you are walking on wooden floor. But it's almost, you're swearing you're hearing something moving on. Maybe if there is a floor immediately below you, there isn't much by way of like, it's not a thick floor, that there's probably just beams, and then it's just the cellar immediately below you. There's someone, because something is a very loaded way of putting it, but there's definitely someone that's moving down there, almost keeping directly below you as you head towards the door.
Good to be out in the sunlight then.
Yeah, and of course, when you're outside in the nice bright sunshine, it's all good. And on that lovely creepy note, I know we were going to go back to the shelter, but looking at the time, and I know Dr. Gross has a prior engagement, we had better call it there. But we'll pick up with the father and the captain at the shelter at the beginning of the next session.
Cool. Our players included Max Meltzer, Josh Harwood, Alex Sun, David Gasaway, and myself, with Matthew Sanderson as the keeper of arcane lore. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members, you can set up private games, and you can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Spotify, Podbean, or iTunes. Support for the show is provided by our patrons who are listed in the closing credits. If you'd like to show us your appreciation, please visit our Patreon page, or you can use the thanks button just below the screen. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answer any questions you might have. This is Thom Raley, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the World War Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck, good gaming. Cool.